So, taking a really big step back from our art is a natural part of the process. I have gone on many hiatuses from my studio and felt really guilty about it and wondered if I'm like still an artist or what am I even doing. And after so many patterns of stepping away and coming back again, I can tell you that it's actually integral to our art. We actually need to take a step back and take a big pause so that we can live our lives and integrate what we've learned and get new ideas, refresh, rest, so that we can come back as our next level of expression. But the thing is diving back in can be really difficult when we're feeling rusty and when we're feeling really hard on ourselves for having taken so much time away from the studio. What I found is that we really need the right processes and the right kind of warm up and system to get us back into the groove and back in the flow. So I'm going to share with you 3 things that I do after a long break to make that transition back into full-on crazy art making mode really easy and gentle. So the first thing I recommend you do, like right in the beginning when you're trying to get back into it, is take a moment of reevaluation. Take some time to journal. That's actually what works best for me, is to do this part in writing and really just ask yourself, like, what happened for me during this break? Where am I now? What am I interested in? How am I personally feeling? How am I feeling about being back in the studio? What are the thoughts that are coming up? And just starting to bridge this awareness and tying the break that we just took and inviting it into the studio and into our process can start to like ease that transition a bit and get us kind of in this mindset of like the break is part of the process. The break feeds my art. And that's a really good warm up. The second thing is give yourself like a couple days or even a couple weeks to just warm up and play with your materials. I think like so quickly we want to jump back into making something that we feel amazing about because we want to, I don't know, make ourselves feel better about the break or feel like we're for sure still an artist. But actually a lot of the times what we need is to play and kind of like clear the cobwebs out. And so I recommend doing this like as big as possible, like make intentionally ugly paintings, go through like 3 sketchbooks, scribble and make marks. And that's just like kind of turning the flow back on, clearing out the cobwebs, and getting out like all the stuff that kind of needs to happen before you even start thinking about making like your next series or something that you're going to show to another person. And then once you've done those 2 things to kind of like shake it off, warm up, maybe that takes you a day, maybe that takes you a month. The creative process is what it is. And I think we need to trust the timing of it. It's not about making it go by quickly, but it's about how present can we be with what needs to happen. So little note on that. But the last thing, once you're finally ready, is start doing studies. Working on studies is my favorite way to kind of bridge this like warm up, play, don't give a fuck period with actually starting to work on something that's meaningful to me and that I might turn into a series or sell or share or do something with later. So as you're starting to think about like what you're interested in, maybe some fun, interesting things came out in your like play warm-up period, just start to make like little experiments, mini ideas of what something could be. Maybe you want to try out a new color. Maybe there's a subject matter or a theme that revealed itself on your break that you'd like to explore visually. And just working through studies, it's kind of this avenue we can take that's low pressure, like they don't need to turn into anything, but yet they're still intentionally investigating what we might want to turn into larger work that we want to spend more time on. So those are my 3 tips. Journal and evaluate about who you are after this break and what happened during the time away. Give yourself tons of room to play and be a kid and just use your materials freely and like clear out any cobwebs that might have like accumulated during your time away. And then embark on a study adventure. And I find that when we go in and do studies, there comes a point where we're naturally ready to start turning those into bigger, more official pieces. And you'll feel when that time is right. You'll start to feel like you need the stakes to be higher in order for your process to be rewarding. You'll start to notice your studies get more cohesive and more focused in one area. And that's how you know you're ready to transition back into whatever your normal art making routine might be. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you can relate to taking a break and then having a funky transition back into your process. I'd love to hear about it. And I'll see you next week for the next IGTV.